What's up, motherfuckers? 3 days ago ended the European Team Chess Championship with victory of Ukraine, but Richard Rapport in representing Hungary makes the best individual results, taking the gold medal in the first board. So let's analyze one of his games against Victor Gazik from Slovakia. Okay, Rapport opened with e4, Gazik selects c5, knight f3, d6, and Rapport chooses the bishop b5, the Moscow variation. Rapport is well known to be a so aggressive player, so maybe bishop b5 could be a little bit more positional, but sometimes this line goes into so sharp. So let's see how continue. Knight d7, may move, short castle, a6, bishop e2, knight f6, d3. This is everything normal. And here e6 was the other option. Gazik prefers to develop the bishop via d6. But via e7, but I prefer the move the move e6 followed by bishop e7 so castle. I think this was better. But okay, there are many games with d6, c4, bishop d7, knight c3, so castle, and here the white plan was d4. That's true that white have played d4 in two tempos, maybe can look like a loss of tempo, but the knight on d7 was bad placed, so that's why it's fine to play d4 in two tempos because the knight on d7 was bad place. If the knight was on b8, well, it was bad because now the knight is developing to c6 in one tempo. But with the knight on d7 was fine to play this massive structure. For example, h3 was other plan, followed by bishop e3, rook e1, and b4. That's other option. But the d4 was the best here because the knight was bad place on b7. C takes, knight d4, queen b6, knight b3, queen c7. Okay, of course, black moves twice the queen just to attack the d4 knight and obligate black to come back to b3 and especially to defend the b2 pawn because you cannot develop the bishop because this pawn is under attack. So for that reason, Rapport will go back with the knight. Now Gazik plays the queen in a good square, and now Rapport develop the bishop to g5, who is fine. But bishop e3 was another option to develop the bishop. For example, knight d5, knight d5, knight takes, c takes, knight c4, and queen c2, killing the knight. So the machine preferred a little bit bishop e3, but bishop e5 was fine. b6, f3, and here Gazik plays f e6, who looks a strange move. Because, okay, the bishop is on d5 and attacking the knight, so why you move the pawn? He has an idea of go back with the knight to e8, but this looks so strange. You ain't have development, you have just moved the knight, trying to trade pieces and can develop the bishop, and at least have the diagonal. Maybe this bishop is going to be there better. Okay, knight c5. The idea of knight c5 is clear. It's just try to trade pieces because here white have the spatial advantage. When your opponent have a special advantage and you have less space, you should trade pieces. For that reason, knight c5 was fine. If knight d4, just go back to e6. I need to trade the knight and play the bishop. Of course, white is fine here, but I'll just black have trade one piece and develop the bishop. Queen d2, knight b3, and there a5. Because if you didn't play b5, white is going to play b5, taking many space in the queen side. So for that reason, you should give the b5 square, but play b5, a5, sorry, stopping before. But okay, Gazik plays e6, a mistake. And here Rapport start to play so well, placing all the pieces perfectly and attack the black weaknesses. Apart, other problem of the e6 move is that now the d6 pawn is weak. So for that reason, he always backs with the knight to e7. Okay, queen d2, 97, 95, sorry, rook c1, 98, and here great move, f4. Of course, you cannot take here because the, there are these tactics of 95. 98, f4, here again the same, you cannot go here because the tactics. Rook f, rook f1 was other option instead of f4, but I really like the plan of f4, not employed by Rapport. See, 96, and like I told in many videos, in the Sicilian, when you are short castle and you play f4, you could always solo with king is one or with useful move. Maybe black is not threatening nothing, but that's the best place for the king. Just leave the the black diagonal and place safety on b1 when there are on h1 when there are no checks. Rook b8. Okay, here we move bishop h4, knight a5, trying to trade knight finally. And here was better keep knights over the board with knight d4. Was the better option. And here now the knight is misplaced on a5. And for example, if f5, you can just take and place the bishop in the long diagonal and just defend the pawn with b3. So that's better to keep knight because yes, like I told him, we have the spatial advantage, so it was better to keep pieces when you have more space. Normally. Okay, knight a5, he goes DLG with f5. Now black should just three pieces. And you play knight a5 to trade the knight. Why you didn't trade knights? That's the idea of knight a5 was trade. So I don't understand why here black didn't take on b3. If he takes bishop f6. And here, okay, of course, white is still having advantage. And this pawn is also weak. So and this king is weak too. Of course, white have more space. White is better here, of course, but knight takes b3 was the better option. Bishop e5. Here, white have a winning move. It was so logical with f6. Just the idea is just give checkmate here, or not checkmate yet, but yes, king with the queen to a6, with f3, rook h3, and checkmate on h7, more than on d7. The idea was so simple. I don't know why Rapport didn't employ that. Just f6, for example, knight takes, it takes. Bishop b7, normal move develop the pieces, queen e6, sorry, queen 6. If queen c5, just rook f3. Bishop c3, rook a3, and just checkmate. If you didn't want to sacrifice material, fine, bishop g5, bishop here rook takes, now the rook is coming to b3, and black cannot create nothing, for example, b5, and just I have tactics, so black have no plan, and you are just coming with rook f3, rook h3. So f6 was winning. Okay, Rapport plays 94, who is still winning, of course, but no, it's not so easy like with f6. Here, 97, f6 again is completely winning. Before followed by takes and f6 was the best option. But Rapport chose other way to convert the victory, who was f takes d6. It's completely winning, of course. F takes 3 rooks, and before attacking the knight. The knight will go back to b7 and the poor square. And now he had this tactic of 95. He takes, and white is winning here. But okay, he played knight f3, more normal move. But let's understand why white is winning, especially the black king is so unsafe. But apart, the rook is not making nothing on the 8, it's completely misplaced, the knight is misplaced here, and white have these open fires. In general, white have the pieces better placed than black. This knight is so strange on e7, black have the pieces so bad place, and white have normal, bishop normal here, both knight in the normal square, queen in the center, bishop, the rook in c1. White have better pieces than black in general, and a safer king, which is so important. Here with the red position, knight f3, he just should give the bishop. Now white have the bishop pair, and especially the dark square bishop. King j trying to put the king in a safe place, but now e5 will move, trying to open the position. When you have more development than your opponent, you should always try to open the position. Knight f5, bishop f6, bishop d7, d4, rejecting the knight again. The knight should return to d7, which is also bad place. He takes d6, queen c6. If you take here, there are, what? Ah, no, sorry, here with d3, sorry, I completely missed. So you cannot take on d6, so now white apart of a pawn up. Queen e6, trying to go for the checkmate. Knight k, yes, bishop e5, control the knight well. Knight b takes, queen f4. And he decided that he's not going to segment his opponent on d7, but he just returned to f6 to pin the knight. Rook d8, king g1 good move. The knight is pinned, so we just unpin the knight, moving the king. Now the knight is free. Queen e4, trying to trade queens, but that doesn't work. Just take d3. King f8, bishop d4, attacking b6, rook b8, knight e5, knight 8 f6, then g5 and bishop e3. The knight is under attack, and the bishop is under attack, so black is going to lose a piece for that reason he resigns. Very good game of Rapport. of playing easy his opponent with this Moscow idea. I really hate the move of e6 in this moment. Just giving a extra weakness in the position. And after that, the Rapport attacks so well. The only that he won a good game, but he could make better playing f6 with a completely winning attack. But great game of Rapport. This was my favorite game of this tournament. Okay, I'm going to change the result. 1 second. Result 1-0. 1-0. In some videos I forget about saying the result, but today I remember. So I hope that you enjoy the game. Rapport always makes great games in this tournament. I'm going to share another game of him against Maxim Chigaev in the round. So let's see the video. Bye bye.